Welcome back to another edition of the Optimize Weekly Market Recap. I'm David Ferreira, Portfolio Manager with Optimize Wealth Management, and as always for today's recap, we'll take a look at last week's activity in the markets, as well as what we're watching for in the week ahead. Closing out the first half of the year, it's been a tremendous start with major Canadian and US stock markets all in the green. For example, the S&P 500 and the TSX finished off the first two quarters up over 14% and 4% respectively. Looking at last week, it was an upbeat week for Canada as the TSX was the best performing of the major North American equity indexes, up 1.49% on the week. In the US, markets were roughly flat with the Nasdaq up 24 basis points and both the Dow and the S&P down 8 basis points on the week. Looking at sector performance, energy and communications were the strongest, while utilities and materials were the weakest. Looking at the events from this past week, US durable goods orders rose 0.1% in May, making it the fourth consecutive increase. This underlies the positive sentiment in the manufacturing sector and sets an optimistic backdrop for the broader US economy. The latest US PCE price index reading, which measures inflation and consumer spending, was released and declined to 2.6% year over year. This showed that inflation is continuing to move in the right direction and helps the case for the US Federal Reserve to cut rates going forward. And on the home front, Canadian inflation came in at 2.9%. And while this comes in a touch higher than the previous month, analysts widely viewed this as a short-term blip due to seasonal factors and not a sign of inflation re-accelerating. It's important to note that inflation is still within the Bank of Canada's target range, and this reading is unlikely to derail future rate cuts. For the week ahead, US manufacturing data will be released on Wednesday, with markets watching for an important read after the previous month's strong results. Additionally, markets will be paying close attention to the Fed's meeting minutes on Wednesday for insights into the central bank's timing of future cuts. And in Canada, the latest unemployment reading is due on Friday, with markets watching for a print that helps the BOC's case for a cut as well. And that's all for this week. With a holiday shortened week ahead, both in Canada and the US, as always, thank you for watching and see you soon.